living this great life. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, but deep inside, when you look in the mirror at night, you know you are sad. You are sad because your soul hurts because you need God. When God becomes your ally, no mortal man is worth fear or even respect. I will destroy any mortal man on the planet. I fear one person, and that is God alone. God just broke your heart on purpose to show you that the way you're living your life and the man you are simply are not good enough. What have you changed since? You need to get up and work so hard that even in the eyes of God, He is proud of you. God loves His creations who show Him their true potential and beauty by getting up and trying their absolute best and becoming a man of moral standing. He will reward you and bless you. Chasokan kadarizalani, you are wasting your energy. Heartbreak is unlimited motivation. When heartbroken, I'd be in the gym every morning. I'd be a beast. I'd be running. I'd be working. I couldn't sleep. I'd be an absolute animal. I became me through tedious, arduous, difficult, never-ending work. You're failing God if you're not the best version of yourself. If you are waking up every day trying your absolute best to be a unique and special individual, then you would not be failing God any longer, and He would not plague you with this bad luck. To become a formidable force of man that cannot be replaced or replicated anywhere else on God's green earth, that's what you must do. This is going to repeat endlessly. It's a cycle that will not change until you take the message from God and become the man you're supposed to be. If you wake up each day and say, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser, because you are absolutely incorrect. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If He gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs, and you can think, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. Offlock you, 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 offlock you. It's the best thing about being a man. You have to build who you are. You can decide if you want to be a funny comedian, a musician, a kickboxing world champion, or fight the Matrix. You decide whatever you want to be. I've never seen anybody dedicate themselves to something completely and fail. I've never seen somebody eat right, go to the gym every day, train really hard, and not be in good shape. I've literally never seen it. The universe is extremely giving. If you actually try and you actually want it, and you're actually not making excuses, lying, talking nonsense, you're going to get what you want. Jarsa. So when I see people who don't have what they want, I consider them losers. This may be elitist, I understand that, but if I put myself through endless pain to end up where I am, it's very hard for me to have sympathy for the man who's afraid of pain. You're avoiding pain. I've been through endless pain. I now have everything I've ever desired. You have none of the things you desire. Am I supposed to feel sorry for you because you took the easy way out? Am I supposed to look at you and go, oh, poor dude? No, you were a coward. You didn't go through what I went through. You didn't put it on the line, so you deserve your substandard reality. Because if you actually wanted it, and you actually tried, you'd have it. You can have anything you want. The universe is super giving. There's not a car I can't have. There's not a house I can't buy. If I want to go on a yacht, if I want to go to Antarctica, there's nothing I can't have, because I've decided to become this man. It's the same for absolutely every single one of you at home. If you want it, you can have it. If you're sitting there saying, oh, but I tried my best and I still didn't get it, you're lying. You didn't try your best. That is a lie. The universe gives it to everybody who genuinely tries, and I know that to be a fact, because this world is competitive. We're all competing against each other, and the majority of people don't try. The world is hyper-competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me, and there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have an ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way so I can't. then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a damn about how they feel. We wake up, and we perform regardless of how we feel, day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Why am I going to ignore how I feel, and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to mess up? No, you are not. You're not allowed to mess up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is how it is. This is what being a man is about. Laying a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole, the thing that makes a good man a man, is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work, and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war, and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, and he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die on the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died on the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care, because in my circle, there are no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me, even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only. I don't igorzi. If you're the person who wakes up, does work, is fantastic at it, and then takes 3 days off, you're gonna lose. They say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and it's completely true. You have to be consistent. You have to decide. Are you the kind of person who wants to make a lot of money in this life and live a life of freedom? Or are you the kind of person who wants to look back when he's 30 on his 20s, or 40 on his 30s, and look at that decade and go, what did I do with that decade? Well, I didn't get rich. I didn't travel the world and live like they do. What did I do? Well, I had a day off here, a day off there, a bunch of nothing days amalgamate into this decade of nothingness, and you're just wasting your time. If you want to win, you need to be consistent. You don't need to be the smartest, not at all, but you have to be the guy who's there day after day. And I will guarantee you right now, IQ has nothing to do with how successful you'll be. What's going to determine how successful you're going to be is, are you there every single day? Are you doing what you're supposed to do day after day? I can also apply this to sales. I knew guys who were terrible on the phone back in my day in sales. I was smooth. I was the best. We had some other guys who were smooth. They'd land the deal, go buy a nice car, whatever, take a few days off, take it easy. We had people who were terrible. When I say terrible, I mean they had a thick accent, didn't speak English that well, didn't know the script that well, didn't know the answers that well, but they were always in the top 20% of the company because they just hammered the phone. They just were on it. They needed to feed their family. They didn't give a damn. They were just calling, that's it, day after day. When you were on lunch break, they were on the phone. Habel, gevatun gevadamly. You can win with hard work alone. That's what's amazing about the universe. When I say that God will give you anything you truly want, if you truly want money, and you truly try hard, you truly listen to us, you are going to have as much money as you can possibly ever desire. But if you think you want money but you kind of want something else, or if you're arrogant, or if you're lazy, you're going to end up somewhere in the middle if you're lucky and talented. And if you're not talented, you're screwed. You don't want to be a normal dude because when you're a normal dude, you're a loser. You don't get to do amazing things. What's interesting is none of you have had a normal life. You've had a unique and individual life path. The things you've gone through, nobody else on the planet has gone through. You've lived certain experiences. The school you went to, the time you were picked on in that class, the girl who broke your heart. Every single thing you've been through is unique like a fingerprint, a completely unique life. And somehow, you've managed to stay completely non-unique. It's almost impressive how you can have a completely unique life experience and still end up average. How did you do that? Your life's different than everyone else's, and you still look and talk and sound and act like everybody else, like a dummy. That happened because you have not paid enough attention to analyzing your life. Self-analysis. Every single time something good happened to you, every single time something bad happened to you, you've not spent enough human hours sitting and thinking and trying to work out why it happened, how to make sure the good things happen more often, how to make sure the bad things happen less often. What was God trying to teach you? He was trying to teach you something. You think, oh, I just felt scared. No, God sent you a lesson, but you didn't pay any attention to it. Happened. Do you understand? Everything that's happened to you has been sent by God Himself to guide you on a unique path. Everything good and everything bad. And the point of the unique path is that you end up a unique person. But you are failing. God is unhappy because you're not trying hard enough. God hates the lazy. God wants people who try. You understand? You know what I can't stand? When I hear Christians say, if it was the Lord's will, I would have had some money by now. No. You can't dump that on God. He said faith without works is dead. I'm just asking you, man, to try something new. Now, if that ain't what you want to do, then good luck. You keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. I would try something else if I was you. Look at somebody and say, it'll work if you work it. Work it. I started my church with 7 people in a building, cooking ribs and chicken, to pay the rent. When they were calling me names and they were making fun of me and said I would never be nothing, I worked a job, and I preached on the side, and I put my check in the offering to keep the doors open. And whatever we had left, we cooked up and sold dinners to get another month to fight again. We preached with our lights off. We preached with our water off to get to where we are right now. And I came to tell you today, whatever it is you are trying to build, if you won't sacrifice for it, if you won't be hungry for it, if you won't sweat for it, if you won't bury your pride and put in the work for it, you don't have the right to get it. Until you will stay up at night and go to school while other people are watching the game, and read and work and pray to get to be whoever it is you are trying to be, you have not got the right. You need guts. You can't be this without guts. I preached 1.5 years in an empty room. Forget about my dream. What is your dream? What is your goal? And how much work will you put into it in order to get what you're trying to get from God? How much? It will only work if you work it. What is you work it? If this message spoke to you, you as a man, you can either cower down and give up and let your wife become your mama, or you can stand up like a grown man and handle your business. Get out of your feelings. People will not work for emotional people who have meltdowns and freak out and hold grudges. You have to be bigger than that. We don't have time to deal with your attitudes, so stop popping your neck, hold your head up, get yourself together, and get ready to fight the good fight of faith. I've been wondering why it didn't happen. I didn't realize I had to serve to lead. Nobody ever taught me how much it cost. Greatness is expensive. Success is expensive. This does not work like your phone. This does not work like an app. You have to work it. And it doesn't happen overnight for most people. Yes, there are 1 or 2 people, but out of millions of people, those are only 1 or 2. The rest of us have to work it. It will work if you work it. Tacit Sheeb, air of it. Every discouraged person, every person who's been feeling like it's just not working. It's just not working. This was your message. If I never preach again, this was your message. It will work if you work it. You think you can wish your way up? You cannot wish your way up. It'll work if you work it. Remember these words. It will work if you work it. I rebuke every giving up spirit. I rebuke every quitting spirit. I rebuke every spirit of torment. I rebuke every spirit of frustration. That devil is a liar. He's trying to talk you out of your future and tell you that you cannot do what God called you to do. The dreams God has placed in your heart are not going to come to pass without opposition, without delays. There will be plenty of opportunities to get discouraged, to think that it's not meant to be. If you give up after the first time or the 30th time, what that really means is you didn't want it bad enough. There should be something you're believing for that you are relentless about. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I'm not going to stop believing. I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm going to keep pursuing what God put in my heart. Kidinhak, hapolima achiwaria. Normal people would give up, but you're not normal. You want it on another level. How bad do you want what God has put in your heart? Bad enough to do the right thing when the wrong thing is happening? Do you want it bad enough to keep pursuing even when circumstances say it's not going to happen? If you're overcome by problems, if you let circumstances push you down, if people talk you out of it, you're not going to have the strength to sustain where God is taking you. You have to be more determined than the opposition. If you give up every time things don't go your way, you didn't want it bad enough. Are you letting people talk you out of what God put in your heart? You can't get well. You saw the report. You can't start that business. Let that go in one ear and out the other. Ignore what they're saying. If you're going to see what you're believing for, you have to be willing to do what other people won't do. Other people may not believe when it looks impossible. They may get discouraged, tell you don't bother praying. No, you're just getting your hopes up, you're wasting your time. Say, God, this looks impossible, but I know you can do the impossible. The odds are against me, but God, I know you are for me. I dated 2 girls. Both of them told me I wasn't their type. I thought, I don't think I'll ever get married. You don't want it bad enough. There are several million other girls out there. How bad do you want to get out of debt? Bad enough to not buy things you can't afford? Bad enough to honor God by tithing your income? How bad do you want that promotion? Bad enough to get to work early? Bad enough to take that online course to sharpen your skills? Tate. How bad do you want your children to stay on the right course? We don't think twice about having to get our children up for school. Their schooling is incredibly important, but I could argue that their spiritual life is even more important, learning to honor God as a person of excellence and integrity. Those seeds planted in them will affect them for the rest of their lives. How bad do you want your marriage, your relationships to work out? Bad enough to clean up a mess that you didn't make? There are new levels in front of us, but much of it depends on how bad we want it. You can pray, God, help me to feel better. God, I'm always so tired. Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you living stressed and worried? Then God will do what you're asking, but you can't override natural laws and expect to live a blessed, healthy life. When He sees you doing all you can, then He'll make things happen that you can't. Now do your part and distinguish yourself. Be willing to do what others won't do. Yes, it takes discipline, but the pain of discipline is less than the pain of regret. It's hard to lay off the junk food, things that are not good for you. That pain is less than the pain of not being healthy. One of the saddest things is to come to the end of life and wonder, what could I have become? What if I would have broken away from those friends that were causing me to compromise? Where would I be? What if I would have taken that step of faith in my career and not played it safe all the time? You don't have to wonder. You can start right now. The question is, do you want it bad enough? Make this decision. I am not going to live complacent, passive. I'm going to pursue what God put in my heart. The difference between a dream and a wish is something you just hope happens, but a dream you put actions behind. Faith without works is dead. Wishing isn't going to get you anywhere. The people that succeed don't always have the most talent, the most opportunity. Many times, they simply want it more than others. You need to live like God is always watching you. You may have the opportunity to do something bad, or you may have the opportunity to steal some money or snake somebody, but in the end, you're going to pay for that, and the bill will be paid. I think if you do the right thing, in my experience, if you're a person who does the right thing, has a firm handshake, is on time, doesn't lie to anybody, does what he's supposed to do, is honest with a good heart, is genuinely polite to everyone he meets, if you are that person, you get very far in life. I have yet to meet people who just do all the simple things right, who completely fail at life. But I've met a lot of people who snake or steal some money, and they get really rich, then they lose it all, or they get rich and end up a gambling addict, or depressed, etc. So you have to just understand that God is always watching. He's going to reward you in the end. That's the first thing, and the second thing I will say is that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you need to create your reality. I think the biggest problem with young people today is that they don't create their realities heavily enough. The people that they want to spend most time with aren't adding any value to their lives, and then they end up wondering why they don't get any value. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're going to end up like. They say, yeah, that's true, and then continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be like. Why? What's Ole? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, etc., etc. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever, but I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. If you were to come hang out with me, and you were to room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious. You're right. You don't feel self-conscious with your friends. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious, and that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who isn't a monster, you'd want to become a monster. If I feel extremely happy and excited, I'm going to use that as motivation or energy to do amazing things and do good and work hard. If I feel absolutely depressed and distraught, I'm going to use that as endless energy and motivation to do amazing things and work hard. It doesn't matter what you give me. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted and transferred. It doesn't matter what fuel you give me. If you give me diesel, petrol, kerosene, vodka, doesn't matter what you put inside of me, hard work is going to come out. Absolutely. That's all I know how to do. Making the best move on the chessboard, regardless of how losing your position is a life philosophy that most will never understand. Sometimes you look at your position on the board, and you're losing, but still, regardless of how you are, there is still a best move. There's always a best move, and a worse move, no matter how bad things are. Many people, when they get to a losing position, think, it doesn't matter. I don't need to make the best move anymore. I actually disagree. Maybe 9 times out of 10, the best move won't save you. But that 1 time out of 10, the best move might be just enough to save you. On a long enough time frame, if you play the game repeatedly day after day, taking risks, always making the best move regardless of whether you're winning or losing, it will compound into an upward spiral of never-ending success. You might end up somewhere near me. You might have dinner with me one day. You might stop being broke. You might stop being a loser. If your girl leaves you, the best move on the board perhaps is to go to the gym. Perhaps it is to send her flowers. Perhaps it is to never text her again. But you should make the best move on the board, regardless. Even if you don't want her back, you should still make the best move. You should always think that way. What move will give me the best possible strategic position? That's how you think. That's how I think. Best move on the board is how you should approach your life. Next time you're in a situation, you should sit and say, okay, this is a bad situation I'm in. What's the best move I could possibly make? What's the outcome I would like? What's the most likely move to give me that particular outcome? And you'll be surprised what some of them are. Lol Tate, I had a guy email me the other day saying he lost his job. He was the worst salesman. Well, then you deserve to lose your job. That's how sales works. It's fierce. He goes, well, I don't know what I should do. I said, what's the best move on the board? He goes, well, I really want the sales job. I think I can get good at it. I said, well, then work for free. Do you have another job yet? He said, no. Okay. While you're applying for other jobs, instead of sitting around at home, keep working for free for the company for 2 or 3 weeks. See if you can turn it around. And he tried that, and he couldn't because he was terrible at sales. But the point is, if he would have sat at home doing nothing, it wouldn't have helped him. The best move on the board was to try and prove to his company that he's actually worth something. If he was worth something, in those 2 or 3 weeks, he might have turned around and got his job back. He still got to apply for new jobs. He didn't lose anything. Proloa. That's the move from the chessboard. That's how I want you to approach your life. It's the mental model, which you should apply to scenarios to deduce what is the best possible action. Because if you're always making the best move, and very rarely making the worst move, it's pretty hard to lose. It's player versus player out here. The world is about winners and losers, and everyone is competing against each other. You are competing against me. I'm competing against you. You're competing against your friend, and you're competing against your enemies. You want $1? So does everyone else. You want that hot girl? So does everyone else. You want that house? So does everyone else. What's amazing is the things you want, the main reason you want them is because other people want them, so you can show off that you have it and they don't. It is competition. They kind of like the age-old adage. If a tiger is chasing 10 people, you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than the slowest guy, because he's doomed. So considering that a lot of people are constantly making the wrong moves, if you can just start to make the right moves most of the time, you'll see exactly how easy life can be. I don't even want your energy around me, because quitters are the worst people on the planet. You can give a quitter absolutely everything, and they will still fail. It doesn't matter what it is. If you go to IKEA and buy a flat-pack table and put it in front of a quitter, you will never have a table. He'll look at it long, and he'll quit. Quitters can have every single advantage. Quitters can have all the information. Quitters can have all the tools. Quitters can have a mentorship. Quitters can have someone who messages them every morning, hey bro, let's get it. And guess what they're going to do at the end? Quit. Quit. They're never going to have it. So if you're a quitter, I don't even want you inside my organization. I don't want quitters anywhere near me because you're never going to be successful. If you found value in this message, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, it will work if you work it. God is watching, and He rewards those who diligently seek Him. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, but only if you're willing to put in the work required to achieve it.